good morning everyone. I am Angelika Garcia and I belong to Group 6. And here are the topics that we are going to discuss. Number 1 is the Baroque art in 16th century to 18th century. Number 2 is the Tudor art in 15th century to 16th century. And number 3 is the Javanese art in 15th century to 19th century. So, let me talk about Baroque art, which is an art movement during the 16th century to 18th century. What is Baroque art? The Baroque style of painting and art was prevalent in Europe from the late 16th century to early 18th century, origin in Italy. The Baroque art is a style of architecture, music, dance, painting, sculpture, poetry, and other art that flourished in Europe from the early 17th century and until the 1740s. In the choices of Spanish and Portuguese inspired include the Iberian Peninsula, and it's continued together with a new style until the first decade of 19th century. So tulad nga ng pagkasabi dito, ang Baroque art ay nagsimula noong 16th century to 18th century sa Europe, which is we could see almost of the painting of Baroque art is all about the Catholic religion. Kaya naman kung isa ka sa mga taong mahilig bumalik sa nakaraan at wag lang sa ex mo, I think Europe is the best place to visit because you could see the old structures at there, the old painting, and all about the Bible or Jesus Christ. So here are more details about the Baroque art. The Baroque style could use contrast movement, extravagant detail, deep color, grandeur, and surprise to achieve a sense of awe. The style began at the start of 17th century in Rome, then spread rapidly to the France, northern Italy, Spain, Portugal, and then Austria, southern Germany, and Russia. By the 1730s, it has evolved into a more flamboyant style called Rococo or Rococo, which is appeared in France and Central Europe until the mid to late of 18th century. So, tulad nga ng pagkasabi dito, ang Baroque art ay isang uri ng sining na kung saan kabilang dito ang mga arkitekto or what we call architecture in English, the visual art, which is they use in design of in the wall, ceiling, window, on their church or other parts of their home. Kasi alam naman natin na ang Europe ay may relihiyon na Katoliko. And I have a few buzzwords here about Baroque art. Number 1 is emotion. When we say emotion, so as I said, in the Renaissance art, you will see stillness. In the Baroque art, you will see motion, which is represent the movement, action, attitude, and activities in the painting. Second one is the emotion. There is an less restraint in Baroque art, and there is more an emotional feel on it. Number 3 is turbulence, because Baroque art challenge those existing rule of symmetry. Number 4 is grandeur. Is everything about the communicate grandeur. It's made it the grand style that when the Catholic Church and the absolutists use the Baroque art in order to prop the reputation or show off their wellness. And last one was the contrast, especially when we are looking at the work of Caravaggio's and all the people that influenced by him, we are going to see that there is quite light and darkness things. And whereas if we are looking at the Renaissance art, you will see it's pretty much more brighter throughout. So let's go on here at the Innovation of the Cross by Peter Paolo Rubens in 1610 to 11. This is a biblical representation of crucifixion of Christ. So here the type genre of this painting in the Innovation of the Cross are history painting, Christian art, and religion image. So, bakit nga ba ginawa ang innovation of the cross? So, kaya ito ginawa na ilagay sa taas ng altar ay hindi lamang nila makita ang taas ng krus ni Kristo, kundi pati na rin ang taas ng ostya. At sa gayon, ang altar at ang ritual nito ay visual na pinagtibay na ang mensahe ng sakripisyo ni Kristo sa ngalan ng sangkatauhan. So let's go on here, the Crowning with Thrones by Michelangelo Merisi da Caravaggio's in 1602 to 1604. So, the painting depicts a crown of thorns being forced onto the head of the Jesus Christ before his crucifixion. The monk his claim into authority. Then, the twist body of Christ was influenced by the Belvedere torso. The painting was designed as a supaporte to be hung over a doorway. So, as we could see naman na ang katawan nga ni Jesus dito ay namimilipit na sa sakit sa kanyang naranasan at talagang pilit na inilalagay ang koronang tinik sa kanyang ulo. And we could almost see the contrast here at the Caravaggio's art. There was a lightning spotlight on the Jesus Christ and the two men, and there's a dark side naman dito sa isang lalaki na nakakulay black. And let's go on here at the St. Jerome in 1610 by Caravaggio. We see here that St. Jerome now, if you were looking at Renaissance art, he would be depicted, but the thing in his is an old man, and a fact that old man who is going to die. As you see, with the skull, they memento mori, remember your death. Remember your death. So, it's like saying that, all right, remember that one day we are going to die, which is, of course, of another thing that Christians are told to be mindful of. And as you see that St. Jerome looking at his really would have looked, and let's look at once, and you could see almost the contrast again in the Caravaggio's art here. So there was sparkling light at the St. Jerome and the skull, and we could see the darkness side of it in his background. And let's continue here. Judith slaying Holofernes by Artemisia Gentileschi, a woman interpretation. So Judith slaying Holofernes has been considered to be related to a power of a woman theme. Historian Susan L. Smith defined the power of a woman as a reputational practice of bringing together at least two but usually more known figure from the Bible. So, to appreciate this painting at para na malaman natin ang tunay na story about dito sa painting na to. So, si Artemisia Gentileschi's story was here. So, Artemisia Gentileschi was the daughter of a painter, and she was the first woman who been admitted into academic of fine art in the Florence. And now there was a tragedy happening to Gentileschi which really impacted her work. Was a young woman. She was raped by the man who was admitted or hired to be his tutor. So, habang ang kaso ni Gentileschi ay nililitis, si Gentileschi ay nakakaranas nga ng torture for 7 months of trial, which is they use a thumb screw on his finger and even to in her toes. Ito po yung ginamit na screw habang nililitis yung kasunoy, Gentilechki. So, it's like, di ba, ni-rape ka na nga tapos ikaw pa yung nakakaranas ng torture imbes na yung nag-rape sa'yo. So, going this art. So, ang art nga ni Gentilechki na ito ay nagawa niyang ilagay ang mukha ng kanyang rapist sa kanyang art, which is we could see on this painting yung mukha ng lalaki. So when we are looking up at the painting, then looking in the two woman hair and compared at the Caravaggio's painting, we could see that the two woman here was more younger and the maid was more younger comparing to the Caravaggio's art na mas matanda ang kanyang yaya. And it's like here na parang sinasabi dito ng woman na, what are you doing? Can I help you? Like that. Comparing to the Caravaggio's art na binubulungan lang siya ng kanyang maid. And also we could see the emotional and intensity of this art na kung saan nga ang lalaki ay puno na ng dugo pati ang mga sheet ng kanyang higaan. So it's like about revenge art nga na ginawa ni Gentilechki na gusto niyang gawin sa kanyang rapist. So let's go on here at the next. Saturn devouring his son in painting by Spanish artist Francisco Goya in 1819 to 1823. It was the peak of break mythic of the Titanic Cronus. So, bakit nga ba kinakain ni Saturn ang kanyang mga anak na lalaki pagkatapos nitong iluwal? So, ayon nga sa metodologiyang Romano na kinasihan naman ng original na alamat ng Georgia, hinulaan si Saturn na ang kanyang isang anak nga na lalaki ay siyang magmamana sa kanyang trono at siya ding magpapabagsak sa kanya tulad ng pagpapabagsak niya sa kanyang ama na si Callius. Upang maiwasan ito ay kinain nga ni Saturn ang kanyang anak upang wala din magmana sa kanyang trono. So, si Saturn nga ay isang sakim na tao at dahil ayaw niyang may makakuhang iba sa kanyang trono kahit pa ang kanyang anak, ay pinapatay niya at kinakain niya nga ang kanyang ina. At this is the story about this painting. That's it. Thank you po sa pakikinig.